Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, then welcome. This is the I Will Teach You a Language podcast. And this is the place where twice a week you get little short episodes like this just to keep you motivated in your learning so that you can keep learning new ways, best practice, get inspiration from other people, and all different kinds of things that are going to help you learn languages better and faster and have more fun while you're doing it. How's that for an elevator pitch? That sounds pretty good to me. I made that up on the spot, although I've said it so many times now, I'm kind of getting better at plugging what I do. It's funny. I actually just was recording, I was answering another question on an episode, and I decided to read out an email that someone sent me recently, and I thought, hang on, this is so important that I'm just going to devote a whole episode to it. So I deleted what I just recorded. That'll be in the next episode now, episode 261. And I thought I would just devote the entire episode to this email that I received, because it's one of these things that I think for many people out there, it's going to be very, very, very important. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not going to say anything more about that because I think the rest of the episode will speak volumes. Recently, I was emailing back and forth with a podcast listener, and she has asked to remain anonymous. Well, in fact, I suggested that she remain anonymous, not for any particular reason, just because I told her I was going to read out her email on the podcast, but that I would do the decent thing and keep it anonymous, and she agreed. I could see, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but part of what we were chatting about was the fact that she was learning Japanese, right? And she had felt ready to start speaking Japanese for quite some time, but she had just been putting off that time when she kind of organizes the lesson or organizes the language exchange or whatever it is that she needs to actually sit down and speak Japanese with another human being. And it's so easy to do, right? If you're listening to this right now and you've been learning a language for at least a few months, but you've never actually arranged to speak with someone, then I'm sure that deep down you know that sooner or later, maybe now, maybe in a few months' time, but sooner or later, you're going to need to actually speak the language. My message for you today is to take that seriously and to not delay for longer than you should. The perfect time to start speaking never comes because you're never as ready as you think you need to be. This is demonstrated very well by the email I'm about to read out from this lady who is going to remain anonymous. Anyway, okay, can't read the first line because she tells me her name. And then she says we have to get coffee someday, which we should. If you're listening, you know who you are. We will definitely get coffee, but you'll have to come to London because I'm not traveling anywhere for the rest of the year. Anyway, she said, I'm beyond joy today, and I just need to write to share with you that I just had my first online language exchange ever in Japanese and English, and it was great. Not my Japanese, which was a total disaster, but my new exchange partner and I both had a great time, and I guess we both benefited quite a lot from it. It was the first time I've ever spoken with a native Japanese speaker for such a long time, and it was difficult. It was. But thanks to you, Olly, I've prepared a bit beforehand. I even got my software in place to record the chat, so it was less scary and the whole thing was more effective than it would have been without your advice. I've made up my mind to do this online Skype exchange thing for a long time, and also take lessons on italki. But I've never really had the courage to do either of them until today. It's such a huge accomplishment for an introvert like me. A big first step. Just now, I was in the middle of using the Speaker app that you recommended to listen back to the recording of the lesson that I recorded, and it's a great app, by the way. This moment, I'm taking a break by writing emails. After that, it will be your latest podcast about meetups. So, next challenge is to conquer italki. I don't know how long it takes this time for me to gain enough courage to really begin, but today's adventure sure did give me a boost. And in brackets, she said, I've already bookmarked all the suitable teachers a long time ago, but I'm just too shy and hesitated time and time again to book a lesson. Now, my dear podcast listeners around the world who I care so much about, I can't tell you how happy it makes me to get an email like this. Because, I mean, obviously it's very gratifying for me to know that I've kind of given someone a push that has resulted in something positive like this kind of realization of the need to speak. But the things I know just as much as anybody, just how incredible an experience it is when you first start speaking this language with people. I know that some people are and I know that it's a scary thing to be put to the test, to take all the words and the grammar that you've been learning and have to actually use it in real conversations. I know it's scary, and I know that there are lots of things in theory that can go wrong. Your pronunciation might be wonky. You might make some mistakes. You might forget some words. You might be sort of sitting there staring into space for a while, tongue-tied. And yeah, that's going to happen. It is. But here's the thing that you don't realize before you start doing this. Someone who is prepared to sit down and speak with you, either because they're a language exchange partner or because you're hiring them for some conversation practice, that person understands what you're going through. They're not going to be there unless they understand and appreciate what it is to learn a language. And anybody who has ever learned a language has started from zero. They've had those awkward conversations. They've felt that kind of knot in your stomach that you get just before you hit the call button on Skype and you realize that there's a human being on the other end and you're going to have to talk to them in a foreign language. Everybody knows what that feels like. But that feeling of nerves, that feeling of apprehension, that feeling of maybe looking a bit silly if you forget something or make a mistake, that evaporates as soon as you realize that this person who you're so scared of and you're so apprehensive about is most likely a wonderful person. The kind of person that you could easily become friends with and spend time with and even visit when you go abroad. It happens to so many people. They visit their teachers and their language partners when they go and live abroad. How do I know this? How am I so confident? Well, it's simply because someone who volunteers for a language exchange or offers themselves up for tuition on italki or something like that, this person is going to be your kind of person. You don't get difficult, impatient people who are going to make you feel silly doing this kind of thing. Well, the exception being my worst language exchange ever, but which I recorded last year. But well, the less said about that, the better. That's an anomaly. People who do this kind of things, who be the kind of person who, certainly someone who teaches on italki, but most often someone who is interested in doing a language exchange, is going to be the kind of person that you will relate to and who you will get on with. I started Languages of London last year, this meetup group I have in London, on the single premise that if we have a meetup and the people that go are interested in languages, then we're all going to get on. And guess what? It's an amazing meetup. If it wasn't for the trouble we've been having with venues, it would be incredible. But that's a different story. Languages are they're a shared interest unlike any other. And I guess the message I want to give is that what you stand to gain is so much greater than the potential for a few moments of embarrassment or nerves. Think about the relationships that you can, aside from the whole linguistic benefits, which I haven't even talked about here, but aside from that, just think about the kind of all the wonderful relationships that you can forge, the people that you can meet, the different ways that you'll start thinking about the world when you have a friend or you have someone that you know in another language. The benefits are truly life-changing, and I'm not overstating that in any way. And then, of course, there are the linguistic benefits. As soon as you start speaking, providing you feel that you're ready and it's something that you feel that you want to do, then as soon as you start speaking, that just a few weeks from now, your language skills, your proficiency in the language will be unrecognizable. Your confidence will be through the roof. You will have learned lots of great phrases that come from actually sitting down with a real-life human being and talking. It's the beginning of a completely new breath of life in your language learning, and the benefits are huge. So in every level of analysis, if you feel that you're ready and you feel that it's something that you'd like to do, then don't delay. Take the leap and start speaking. Find a language exchange partner. Hire a very simple thing you can do is to go to italki and to just book a trial lesson, a 30-minute lesson. Give it a go. If you hate it, then I will eat my hat. I will personally come around and
buy you a coffee to apologize for having wasted your time. But I guarantee that's not going to happen. Once you get over that, all you've got to do is book that first session. Recently, I contacted a local Japanese teacher here in London. There's a website called Tutor Hunt, which is quite cool. They connect you with tutors from all different kinds of topics, and they just charge like rather than taking a cut from the lessons, they just charge like a one-time fee, which I think is quite reasonable for putting you in touch with that person, and then you can have, they can be your teacher for as long as you want. There's all different kinds of ways to do this. But if you're looking for a guaranteed way to totally revolutionize your experience of learning your target language, then start speaking. Trust me, you will not regret it. All right, that's all I have to say for today. It's a pep talk for those of you who are in that situation. And I hope it's... If there are any success stories coming from this, if you do take the leap after today, then please do come and let me know in the comments of the show notes. The link is iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 260. I would love to hear about that. Really, I would. If you'd like to ask me a question, then please go to iwillteachyoualanguage.com/ask. And at the end of every episode, I like to leave you with a resource of some kind on the topic of the show. But today there is none, because your only job now is to go and book that first lesson, that first speaking session in your target language. You can go to italki. That's the easiest way to do it, because you can literally pull out the phone that you're using to listen to this and book a lesson. iwillteachyoualanguage.com/free lesson. It's even free. Come on, guys. I don't know what else I can do. If not, then you can go to your local kind of classified ads website, look for a teacher there. Whatever it is, that's your task. Please go and do it, and then let me know how it goes. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free. See if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. storylearning.com/courses.